Hi, happy Summerween. It is the first day of Summerween. I decided this year to do two different vlogs. I'm going to vlog the first, second, and third day of Summerween, and then a second vlog will come out with the rest of the readathon. So to start off, I wanted to start with The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, and my plan was to take this to work with me today and start it on break, but that did not go as planned because I was actually finishing a different book that I wanted to have finished before today. That didn't work out, took me longer to read than expected, so I didn't get to start this one yet, but I just got home from work and my usual routine is to go down to like the little gym fitness center at my apartments and work out for a little bit, and part of that I walk on the treadmill. So I can bring this and read it on the treadmill, but I found it's much easier to read on the Kindle when I'm walking on the treadmill. So I figured I would take my Kindle down there and start a different book while I do that, and then later tonight I'll come back and read The Midnight Feast. So I have two books that I'm reading for the readathon on my Kindle. One is that short story collection, At Home with the Horrors, and then the other one is The Summer I Died by Ryan C. Thomas. So I think I'm going to start this one, read it while I'm on the treadmill for a little bit today, and then, like I said, when I get home later, I'll give you guys an update on how this is going. I don't really know a lot about it. I know it's about a murderer and it's supposed to be disturbing. I believe it's extreme horror. So looking forward to it. I'll give you guys an update once I'm back from the gym. Hi, it's a bit later. Clearly, I meant to film like some cute little B-roll of me reading on the treadmill, but then a person came in and I got scared. Anyways, done with that. Obviously, I've taken a shower. I'm getting ready to eat dinner, but I wanted to update you guys. I got, I think, about 20% into The Summer I Died. It's a pretty short book. That makes it page 42 is 20% of the way through. So we've really just gotten the setup, basically. We start off with this prologue of our main character talking to us and kind of foreshadowing or alluding to something that happened this summer. He's talking about different coping mechanisms and how he dealt with it after that summer has passed and the years after it. So now we're going back and he's basically telling us his story. So his name is Roger. Side note, this is a part of a series. I don't know how many books are in it, but it does say, book 1 of 3 in the Roger Huntington saga. So that's interesting. So we have him. He's like 20 years old, I think, and he has come home from college for the summer, and he meets up with one of his childhood friends. His name is Mervyn, but he goes by Tooth. That's like his nickname for certain reasons. And the two of them, I guess it's just their thing that they like to do, is they like to go shooting. Not necessarily hunting, but like shooting at targets and like cans and stuff. So they basically go out into the wilderness or this wooded area near where they live, and they just shoot for fun. So that's kind of all we've gotten so far. We've gotten a little bit of background on each of the characters, what their family life is like, what it was like growing up, and the bond of their friendship. And then now they're going out to go shooting. They're going to go to a new spot, somewhere that they haven't been before. And then I believe that's where the story is going to pick up. And I think it's just like them being kind of stalked and tormented by this murderer that's out there. So I'm really into it so far. I really like it. I like the way that it's written. Like I said, it is very short, and it's definitely been a very quick read because I am interested in it. So for those reasons, I would just continue reading this because I am enjoying it and it's very, very quick. But I am going to get started on The Midnight Feast because this is due back to the library in a couple days, so I feel like I should get it out of the way first. I'm hoping this will be a quick read as well. Thrillers usually are for me because I feel like most of the time they're fast-paced and they're just very easily written so that you can just consume them very quickly. Lucy Foley, I've read 2 of her books. I've read The Hunting Party and then the guest list, and I remember really enjoying them, but I also read those when I was kind of getting back into reading, so I didn't think super critically about what I was reading. It was basically like, you know, if I enjoy a book, then I'm gonna give it 5 stars. So I don't know if my rating of those would be different if I went back and read them, but I am excited to pick up another Lucy Foley book now that I've read so much more, and I feel like my standards are a little bit higher. I actually don't even remember what the plot of this is. Maybe I should just go in blind. But this is gonna be our next read, my next read. I'm gonna make some dinner, probably going to watch some YouTube perhaps, get some Summerween content while I eat. I'll update you guys later when I've gotten a little bit into the Midnight Feast. Hi, it's later again. I am now 96 pages into the Midnight Feast. I've just been sitting and reading this and just absolutely eating it up. It is very, very quick paced. The writing just flows really well. It's just so easy to get into. I'm really enjoying it so far. So the premise of this book is we have this place called the Manor, and this is like the opening weekend for the Manor. It is this very fancy, like bougie place, like very, very rich, very like pretentious. So the owner of the Manor is Francesca, and the Manor did belong to her grandparents. I believe it was like their home or the estate or something, and now she has ownership over it, and she has worked with people to get it built out in order to turn it into this very fancy luxury resort. So we're following a few different point of views. Obviously we have Francesca, who is the owner, we have her husband, we have the POV of a guest, we have the POV of a young teen boy that is working there. There's a lot of like discourse because a lot of the locals to this land are very, very unhappy. Francesca is just an absolutely horrible person. She just wants to develop on this land, take this land from the locals. She has bought out different parts of the land and just is going through a lot of different shady things in order to take over this land and make a bunch of money off of it. She's absolutely horrible. Definitely a lot of shady things going on there, but there's also shady things going on with the other people, specifically with Bella, who is the guest point of view that we're reading from. She is clearly not who she says she is, and there's definitely a past there. She is connected to this place, she's connected to Francesca, and I'm sure that's all going to come out, but it's very, very interesting so far. There is also this aspect of kind of like a local legend that people are calling the birds, and I don't know if that's like actually birds. I don't think it's like actually birds, but it almost seems like it's like a creature, but I don't think it is, because I don't think that this is like a supernatural thriller or anything. I think it's just pretty straightforward. So what I'm kind of thinking the birds are is some sort of cult with the locals here, and maybe they're involved with some sort of rituals. Maybe they are kind of like the leaders there, or the ones responsible for keeping things the way that they want them in this area, if you know what I mean. Very, very curious to see where that goes. So we obviously are following these different people through the opening weekend of the Manor, but we also get a glimpse into the aftermath, where the Manor has caught on fire and a dead body has been discovered. So we get little chapters here and there of that and like the investigation starting around that. So obviously things are going to unfold simultaneously with that timeline, but then also as we're going through what actually happened. So I'm really, really into it so far. Like I said, I like the writing, I like the characters, except for Francesca. She sucks, but it's just, everybody's very, very interesting, and it's also kind of funny and a little bit comical, because it's definitely poking fun at like social media and like influencers and just that type of people like the yuppie type of vibe almost. So I really, really like it. This also takes place in summer, which I didn't realize because, once again, I didn't remember what the synopsis was because I read about it so long ago and then just reserved it at the library. This does take place during the summer. The atmosphere is really, really perfect. Like, the description of the manor and like the surrounding area and the beaches where they are is done so well. It's making it such an immersive read, but it's like perfect for Summerween. I feel like I'm getting all these like summer reads and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'll probably read for 40 minutes to an hour more tonight, see how far I can get into it. I'm absolutely flying through it so far and having a great time. So it's been a little while since I talked to you guys last. It's actually the next day and it's like 9 p.m. But I have some updates for you guys. First of all, yes, it's 9 p.m., but we just made dinner, breakfast for dinner. I have pancakes, vegan bacon, an egg, and some hash browns. I also have Liquid Death iced tea, which I've never had before. I got the Rest in Peach flavor. It's pretty good. It's a little like mild, but it's not bad. Anyway, back to what you guys are here for. The Midnight Feast, I read to about page 140 last night, and then I've been doing some reading today, and I'm now to page 250. I'm still really enjoying it so far. I like the way that the story is unfolding and the way that, like, information is being exposed to the reader. There have been a few things that are a little bit predictable because obviously at this point in the story we know that all of these characters are connected and something happened with them in the past, so it's not very difficult to figure out exactly how each of them is connected, but it kind of has like a folk horror vibe to it almost, like with the setting that they're in and the forest, and then also like this weird cult thing with the birds and different things that have happened in the past. And it's kind of like a legend where some people don't believe that they exist, but other people swear that they do exist and that they've seen them before. So it's very, very interesting. I'm really curious to see where it all goes. Obviously, we're still following like the present day investigation with this body that they found. But the interesting thing is with this body, like, there's no features on the face. Like, the face is wiped clean somehow. So we don't know who it is. Obviously, we don't know how it happened, who they were killed by, how the fire started. But we are now on to the night that it all goes down. This is the night of the summer solstice, I believe. So we are about to get a lot of answers. The chapters are getting shorter. They've been short the whole time, which is great. The evening of the feast. So I've got about 100 pages left. Very excited to see where it goes. I also started the short story collection today. My plan was to read, because there's 14 stories in here. I wanted to do 2 a day, because then for 7 days, that equals 14. I don't think I have to explain my math to you. I'm really, really liking it so far. I've read the first 2, so I've got some catching up to do if I want to stay on track. The first story was called What We Have Here, and we start off with this couple that is kind of arguing, like they are maybe having some tension in their marriage, and then it quickly progresses into something else because the world that they're in is affected by this very strange epidemic that causes strange things to happen to the human body. I don't want to go too far into it, but I really, really liked it. The next story was called Teresa, and this story is told by Teresa's father. Teresa was this woman, her husband was killed in a shooting, and then she committed suicide shortly after that, and she called her father and was like, her husband's here, and that's how he like knew that she was going to do something drastic, because like, how is she seeing her dead husband? But then it goes even further than that, and I don't want to give too much away. It's really hard to talk about short stories without giving anything away, but I really, really liked that one. The whole vibe of this collection, I really like the writing. I'm just enjoying the direction that these stories are going, and it's really reminding me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I'm sure was a childhood favorite for a lot of us, myself included, and I don't know what it is. The writing, the way the stories are told is just reminding me of that, and I'm absolutely loving it. So I'm gonna eat my dinner. I'm gonna finish the midnight feast, maybe read a little bit more of this, maybe switch to something else. But either way, I'll come back once I finish this one and let you guys know my final thoughts. I'm also kind of thinking about possibly building a blanket fort, so we'll see. My next update might be inside of a blanket fort, but it depends if it works or not. So this is our little blanket fort. I'm gonna sit in there and read. My boyfriend's gonna play video games. It's the perfect setup. I'm honestly kind of proud of it. It's really funny because we actually don't own any chairs, which is normally what people use to make blanket forts. So we use like a broom and a clothes drying rack. We have like cans of vegetables holding up the blankets, and it's very makeshift, but it turned out really well. It's like midnight now. I just finished the midnight feast. I didn't realize how funny that was until I started filming this. I finished the midnight feast at midnight. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this yet. I'm going to wait and give you guys like my full thoughts and rating tomorrow because I just want to move on and keep reading. So I think I'm going to pick back up The Summer I Died by Ryan C. Thomas, because if I learned anything from my 24-hour readathon, it's that reading extreme horror late at night is a good way to stay awake. Just reading something absolutely ridiculous and unhinged, and I feel like this will definitely get into that territory. Just any extreme horror, because it's so brutal and messed up, it just keeps me awake and very invested. Also, I know there's technically some lights right now, but I am going to count this as reading a book in the dark so that I can check. So that I can check that prompt off. Another prompt completed for Summerween. So I'm gonna get back into this right now. I will probably see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do another update tonight, but either way, I'll let you know how things are going. Good morning. I actually think it's a little bit closer to afternoon now, but I have some updates for you guys. Reading in the blanket fort last night was very, very fun, very cozy, very healing for the inner child. I really enjoyed it. I was able to get a good ways through The Summer I Died, so I'm going to tell you guys about that and then give you kind of my reading goals or my reading plans for today. Today is Sunday, but before that, I wanted to give you guys my final thoughts and updates for the Midnight Feast. It's interesting because I feel like the way that I feel about like my reading experience with this is similar to when I read One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware, where it was like I enjoyed the story, I had a fun time reading it, but I wasn't like really surprised or shocked by anything, which normally I feel like is what you expect when you're reading a thriller or a mystery, is to be shocked and surprised and have like crazy plot twists. This one, as I mentioned to you guys, like a lot of things were kind of predictable to figure out how everybody was connected, and because of that, it made it very easy to solve the mystery that was going on, but the mystery itself, I feel like, was kind of weak. Like, it wasn't a very, very strong or super, super compelling mystery. I don't know, maybe I just didn't feel like it was compelling because, like I said, it was very easy to figure out, like, what the solution was or what the truth was behind that. I did enjoy it though. Like, I had a good time reading it. It was fun, it was entertaining, it was very fast paced, the chapters were short, the writing was good, everything flowed very well. I liked the way that the story was unfolded, but I just feel like there wasn't enough mystery to it. Like, everything was kind of predictable and really easy to figure out what was going on, how everybody was connected. I did like the setting, as I already told you guys. Like, it's a very, very good summer read. I would definitely recommend it if you want a summer thriller. This takes place during the summer solstice, as I mentioned. They're by the beach, they're by the ocean, so there's a lot of like beach talk. We get flashbacks as well to the past. 15 years ago, we get Bella's summer journal. So she's kind of telling us like when she was a teenager and she was in this area and the different things that they would do, and it definitely gives very like summer vibes. Overall, I'm very mixed because there are things that I enjoyed and things that I didn't enjoy, things that I think could have been a little bit stronger aside from the mystery. First of all, the birds, I feel like we didn't really get a whole lot of information about them. We didn't really get to know exactly who they are, how they came to be. I think I understand what their goal is and like what they're trying to accomplish and what their role is in this community. Like I understand that, but I just wish we got more information, more of a backstory into it and kind of build it up that lore a bit more. It just felt like a strange thing to include if the author wasn't going to elaborate and give us more depth into it. There was another part with a certain character as well that I can't get into for spoiler reasons, but there were some things that I still have questions about with that character and why certain choices were made and certain things were done. But I don't know if I'll ever get those answers. Obviously, I won't ever get the answers to that, but it does have me curious, and I don't know, I feel like that's not really a good sign, like when I'm still questioning things after the book has ended. Overall, it was an enjoyable read, but as a thriller mystery, like I wasn't shocked or caught off guard by any sort of reveal or twist that was mentioned in here. Like I said, I kind of figured out what was going on and what the conclusion was going to be, but I still enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars because it was okay. Moving on to The Summer I Died. Last night I read to page 100, which was 50%. I read some more today and I'm now about 130 pages in, so 63%. I am still really enjoying it. It definitely has me like cringing and very grossed out at certain points. Scared for the characters, but I'm just not entirely sure how I'm feeling towards it yet, because I feel like there are some things that could be more descriptive, especially with extreme horror. Like obviously a big part of it is those descriptions of the gore and like the horrible things that are happening. Oh yeah, I told you guys what this was about. So they go out shooting, Roger and Tooth, they go out shooting and then they're getting ready to leave. They're high as fuck and they hear this woman screaming for help. And I was reading that and I remember like turning to my boyfriend and I was like, okay, picture this. Like we go into the forest and we smoke a joint and we're super high and we're getting ready to leave and we hear this lady screaming. Like, what would you do? And personally, me, maybe it's just because like I'm a woman and like I'm just more cautious or wary of certain things like that. I feel like I would just call the cops and like report it. But my boyfriend was like, well, it like depends, you know, if it's like on trail, if it sounds like it's coming from the hiking trail, maybe I'd go check it out or whatever. But I'm like, for me, I feel like I wouldn't, but then maybe I'm just saying that because I know the fate that these characters have. So they go and investigate this woman screaming. They find a house out there and they find this man torturing this woman, and then he captures them and now they're like chained up in his basement and he's doing horrible things to him. It definitely has that very like, you know, splatterpunk like slasher vibe to it. However, once again, the descriptions, especially with like their captor, this man, we don't really know much about him except he's like very psycho and he is referred to as the skinny man. All we know is that he's skinny and he has a bunch of fucked up tattoos, but we didn't really get any other descriptors about like how this man looked. He's also got some dogs, which has been an interesting inclusion. It's definitely fucked up and it's definitely nasty, but it's not, I don't know, I just feel like there's something lacking so far. But I am curious to see how the story unfolds and how they get out of this predicament. Obviously, we know that Roger at least gets out of it because of the prologue where he's reflecting on this experience. Also the fact that it is the first book in the Roger Huntington saga, so we know that his character goes on, but I'm just really curious to see how he's going to get out of it. One thing I did like is that they're talking about, you know, oh, if this was a book or if this was a movie, like there would be something included to help these characters get out, but our situation is pretty much entirely helpless. Like there's nothing that we can do. Like every kind of little thing that would allow the characters in a false story to get out is like foolproof in here, which I think is really fun and kind of like a little bit meta, where they're like, oh, like if this was a book, like one of the chains would be rusted and we could break through, but that's not going to happen. So it has me very curious, like what the plan will be and how they will actually get out of this situation. So my reading plans for today, I'm going to finish this. Obviously, I've got like 70-ish pages left. Then I want to read The Body by Stephen King. This is a novella, obviously, so it should go by pretty quick. It is about 180 pages. And then I'm thinking after that I will do The Sad Ghost Club, because this is a graphic novel, so it won't take very long at all to get through. And then I think it'll just be kind of fun and cozy vibes. So that's my plan, is to finish these 3 today. However, right now we are about to go to the park and get some activity in, do a walk, get some sunshine, get out of the house for a little bit. So I'll see you guys later, probably when I finish this one, and I'll let you guys know my final thoughts. Hi, it's quite a few hours later. I'm in the same exact spot as the last time that I talked to you guys, but I have finally finished The Summer I Died. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I did kind of enjoy it at the beginning, but I feel like the longer it went on, the more ridiculous it got, and I know that's like the point with splatterpunk, is to be like silly and ridiculous and over the top, but it was like the villain, some of the things he did, it just seemed like very, very silly. And then the main character, Roger, some of the things that he did and the choices that he made towards the end of the book, like I just didn't really understand. I thought that they were really, really dumb choices to make. And overall, I just, like, it was okay. I wish we got more backstory on the killer. We learn a couple of things about him, but like, I don't know, we just never really get a full backstory or full like explanation, or like get any more information about who he is and what his life was like, how he became the person that he is. And I wish we got a little bit more of that. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite. I'm probably not gonna read any other books in like the saga with that character Roger, but I'm gonna move on now to The Body by Stephen King. I think this is 180 pages, 179 pages. Like I told you guys earlier. So I'm gonna start this and then we'll see how it goes. I have a good feeling about this, obviously. I like Stephen King. I haven't read like a whole bunch of things by him, but obviously I know the story of this. Well, I know the movie Stand By Me, which is loosely based on this, so I think it'll be good. It's short, it's gonna have those summer vibes, and I'm here for it. I hope this one goes better than the last one. Actually, I just hope it goes good in general, because we've only had a 3 and a 3.5 star so far for Summerween, so hopefully this one's a little bit higher up on the ratings. I'm now halfway through The Body, so I just wanted to stop and give you guys a little bit of an update. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's been a very, very quick read for me. Obviously, I've seen the movie quite a few times, so I know the story and I know the characters, and it's just kind of like, I don't know if nostalgic's the right word, but it's just a very light and a very fun read because I know the story already. And I will say that the adaptation, they did a really good job, because there's not anything in the story that's happened that wasn't included in the movie, and there isn't anything that I can think of in the movie that was really added on or deviated from the story too much. So I really like that. I just got past the part with the train, and now they're sitting down and Gordy is going to tell his story about the guy at the pie eating contest. Also, there is, I guess, one thing that was included in here that's not included in the movie, and that is an earlier story from Gordy. He's our main character. He's a writer, so they include one of his stories early on, and I can understand why that got cut out, because I feel like it's not really that important. I think it's just included so that we get to know the main character a little bit more and the way that his mind works and the way that he writes. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan because it like takes you out of the story and it just like it wasn't an interesting story to me to read. But I guess I should tell you, if you are somebody who's never seen the movie or heard of this and you don't know what it is, basically it takes place in the year 1960 in Castle Rock, Maine. It is summertime. We have these four friends. We have Gordy, who is telling us the story. He is now an adult and he's just like reflecting back and writing the story as an adult and telling us about this year in his life when he was 13. So we have him and then his three friends, Vern, Chris, and Teddy. And there is this kid that died, but nobody has found his body yet. So it's like this big story and it's on the news and it's on the like the radio and everything. It's how they hear about it. But they hear some rumors of where this body might be, and they decide it would be a fun trip to go down there and try to find this body, and maybe if they can find it and they report it to the proper authorities, then they can get in the newspaper and be like the local heroes because they found like the dead kid. So that's basically what it is. It's really just a coming of age story of friendship and very, very like fun summertime vibes. I'm really liking it. I just love these characters and I feel like their personalities come through so well within the story. They are all complex in their own ways and they all have like their own backgrounds and different things that make them who they are. My favorite character has always been Chris. Every time I've watched the movie, like I don't know, I feel very connected to him, and that still is true while reading the book. Like, I love Chris, especially like Chris and Gordy's friendship, but if I did have to choose a character that's my favorite, it is Chris. Let me know if you guys love the movie, who's your favorite character, because I'm very curious, and why. Why do you love them? So it's going well. It's giving me the summertime vibes. It's giving me just everything that I expected it was going to give me and everything that I hoped for. Stephen King obviously is a very talented writer and I'm really just having a great time and I can't wait to finish the second half of it. Hi, it's the next day. I ended up finishing The Body last night very, very late, so I didn't update you guys then because I just went to bed after finishing it. But I'm here now to give you my final update. So I really, really enjoyed it. It's just a sweet story of friendship and being a kid, and I feel like it is a story that could be appreciated at all ages. Maybe a little bit more as an adult because I feel like as an adult you kind of understand that feeling of sometimes your friends just fade away and you find other friends and you don't always stay in touch for the rest of your life despite being very close at one point. So it's definitely a very bittersweet ending, but the ending in here I feel like we definitely get more than in the movie. The movie kind of ends with everybody walking away and then it tells you like this person died because of this and this person died because of this and this person died because of this. But in the book we get a little bit more insight into their lives between the time that they get back from the trip and then the time that we find out about their deaths. So that was nice because we just got to spend a little bit more time with them. It's definitely a very bittersweet ending, but it is a really nice story. Maybe I teared up a little bit reading it, but I really, really liked it. There were a lot of really nice quotes that I enjoyed, and I think overall, I think I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. It was really good. I would definitely recommend, whether you're somebody who's seen and loved the movie or you've never heard of it before, I would still recommend giving this a read if you just want a nice little tale of friendship and kind of like a summer adventure book. So unfortunately, I didn't get to the Sad Ghost Club last night. It just got later than I thought, a lot quicker than I expected, so I didn't end up reading that one last night. So that is the end of this vlog, but stay tuned for part 2. The second vlog will be coming out later this week. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next vlog.